Chapter 13. Dot and the Kangaroo. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Lucy Burgoyne. Dot and the Kangaroo by Ethel C. Pedley. Chapter 13. Two men were walking near a cottage in the winter sunlight of the early morning. There came to the door a young woman, who looked pale and tired. She carried a bowl of milk to a little calf, and on her way back to the cottage she paused, and shading her eyes, that were red with weeping, lingered a while, looking far and near. Then with a sigh she returned indoors and worked restlessly at her household duties. "It breaks my heart to see my wife do that," said the taller man, who carried a gun. "All day long she comes out and looks for the child. One knows, now, that the poor little one can never come back to us," and as the big man spoke there was a queer choking in his voice. The younger man did not speak, but he patted his friend's shoulder in a kindly manner, which showed that he too was very sorry. "Even you have lost heart, Jack," said the big bushman, "but we will find her yet. The wife shall have that comfort." "You'll never do it now," said the young fellow with a mournful shake of the head. "There is not an inch of ground that so young a child could reach that we have not searched. The mystery is, what could have become of her?" "That's what beats me," said the tall man, who was Dot's father. "I think of it all day and all night. There is the track of the dear little mite as clear as possible for 5 miles, as far as the dry creek. The tracker says she rested her poor weary legs by sitting under the blackbutt tree. At that point she vanishes completely. The blacks say there isn't a trace of man or beast beyond that place excepting the trail of a big kangaroo. As you say, it's a mystery." As the men walked towards the bush, close to the place where Dot had run after the hare the day she was lost, neither of them noticed the fuss and scolding made by a willy wagtail, although the little bird seemed likely to die of excitement. Willy Wagtail was really saying, "Dot and her kangaroo are coming this way. Whatever you do, don't shoot them with that gun." Presently the young man, Jack, noticed the little bird. "What friendly little chaps those wagtails are," he said, "and see how tame and fearless this one is. Upon my word, he nearly flew in your face that time." Dot's father did not notice the remark, for he had stopped suddenly, and was peering into the bush, whilst he quietly shifted his gun into position, ready to raise it and fire. "By Jove!" he said, "I saw the head of a kangaroo a moment ago behind that iron bark. Fancy its coming so near the house. Next time it shows, I'll get a shot at it." Both men waited for the moment when the kangaroo should be seen again. The next instant the kangaroo bounded out of the bush into the open paddock. Swift as lightning up went the cruel gun, but, as it exploded with a terrible report, the man, Jack, struck it upwards, and the fatal bullet lodged in the branch of a tall gum tree. "Great Scott!" exclaimed Jack, pointing at the kangaroo. "Dot!" cried her father, dropping his gun, and stumbling blindly forward, with outstretched arms, towards his little girl, who had just tumbled out of the kangaroo's pouch in her hurry to reach her father. "Hoo hoo ho ho he he ha 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 ha!" laughed a kookaburra on a tree, as he saw Dot clasped in her father's great strong arms, and the little face hidden in his big brown beard. "Wife! Wife!" shouted Dot's father. "Dot's come back! Dot's come back!" "Dot's here!" yelled the young man, as he ran like mad to the house. And all the time the good kangaroo sat up on her haunches, still panting with fear from the sound of the gun, and a little afraid to stay, yet so interested in all the excitement and delight that she couldn't make up her mind to hop away. "Dadda," said Dot, "you nearly killed Dot and her kangaroo. Oh, if you killed my kangaroo I'd never have been happy any more." "But I don't understand," said her father. "How did you come to be in the kangaroo's pouch?" "Oh, I've got lots and lots to tell you," said Dot. "But come and stroke dear Kangaroo, who saved little Dot and brought her home." "That I will," said Dot's father, "and never more will I hurt a kangaroo." "Nor any of the bush creatures," said Dot. "Promise, Dadda?" "I promise," said the big man, in a queer sounding voice, as he kissed Dot over and over again, and walked towards the frightened animal. Dot wriggled down from her father's arms, and said to the kangaroo, "It's all right, no one's ever going to be shot or hurt here again," and the kangaroo looked delighted at the good news. "Dadda," said Dot, holding her father's hand, and with her disengaged hand touching the kangaroo's little paw, "this is my own dear kangaroo." Dot's father, not knowing quite how to show his gratitude, stroked the kangaroo's head, and said, "How do you do?" which, when he came to think of it afterwards, seemed rather a foolish thing to say, but he wasn't used, like Dot, to talking to bush creatures, and had not eaten the berries of understanding. The kangaroo saw that Dot's father was grateful, and so she was pleased, but she did not like to be stroked by a man who let off guns. So she was glad that Dot's mother had run to where they were standing, and was hugging and kissing the little girl, and crying all the time, for then Dot's father turned and watched his wife and child, and kept doing something to his eyes with a handkerchief, so that there was no attention to spare for kangaroos. The good kangaroo, seeing how happy these people were, and knowing that her life was quite safe, wanted to peep about Dot's home, and see what it was like, for kangaroos can't help being curious. So presently she quietly hopped off towards the cottage, and then a very strange thing happened. Just as the kangaroo was wondering what the great iron tank by the kitchen door was meant for, there popped out of the open door a joey kangaroo. Now, to human beings, all joey kangaroos look alike, but amongst kangaroos there are no two the same, and Dot's kangaroo at once recognised in the little joey her own baby kangaroo. The joey knew its mother directly, and, whilst Dot's kangaroo was too astonished to move, and not being able to think, was trying to get at a conclusion why her joey was coming out of a cottage door, the little kangaroo, with a hop, skip and a jump, had landed itself comfortably in the nice pouch Dot had just vacated. Then Dot's mother, rejoicing over the safe return of her little girl, was not more happy than the kangaroo with her joey once more in her pouch. With big bounds she leapt towards Dot, and the little girl, suddenly looking round for her kangaroo friend, clapped her hands with delight as she saw a little grey nose, a pair of tiny black paws, and the point of a black little tail hanging out of the pouch that had carried her so often. "Why," exclaimed Dot's mother, "if she hasn't got the little joey Jack brought me yesterday! He picked it up after a kangaroo hunt some time ago." "It's her joey, her lost joey!" cried Dot, running to the kangaroo. "Oh, dear kangaroo, I am so glad," she said, "for now we are all happy, as happy as can be." Dot hugged her kangaroo, and kissed the little joey, and they all three talked together, so that none of them understood what the others were saying, only that they were all much pleased and delighted. "Wife," said Dot